When did you first grow curious about the paranormal? Dare you dig deeper? You are listening to House of Asher.
And welcome to another episode of House of Asher. I'm your host, Steve Asher, and a lot of times they talk about life imitating art and art imitating life, and sometimes they cross over and you can't tell which is which. The Will Smith film, I Am Legend, which some of you may or may not know was based on an earlier film that starred Vincent Price. They changed it up, obviously. They modernized it a little bit. To me, both performances are standalones. They have their own things that make them special, I guess. And I mean, for me, I'm a Vinny P fan from way back. It ties into my love of the old Edgar Allan Poe adaptations and Hammer films and all that stuff that was really popping when I was a young guy in the 70s. But you watch things through different lenses, at different times in your life, and there's a thing that watching this, the I Am Legend thing, especially post onset of COVID 2020, it's just different. Okay, there was a time, especially when things were a little bit more desolate, think of like the 70s and early 60s. Remember all the dystopian horror movies, right? And all the different things that come out like that, with all the they just had sort of a more dire vibe to it. Logan's Run and the Omega Man and all the Planet of the Apes series, and I mean even stuff like was it Earth 1999 or something like that. All these people, Battlestar Galactica, they're fleeing either from a dead Earth, a dying Earth, for whatever reason they are taken off. And but even with that, there was a bit of hope in that. We're all kind of we're stuck here in this friggin' mess, and there's really no promise that it's going to smooth out anytime soon. I probably should say this from the front. You may be listening to this on Facebook, or like LinkedIn from Facebook, from YouTube, or Spreaker, which is where I initially do this recording. Maybe it's iHeart, maybe it's SoundCloud, a whole lot of different stuff, Spotify, whatnot, iHeart. Anyway, if you are happening to listen to this and you dig it, please, if you don't mind, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit your notifications. That way, if you do want to hear new stuff that's coming on, that's cool. That way you're the first people to get it. But anyway, back to this whole kind of strange quasi-dystopian thing we're living in. Most movies would have the deal where we're all kind of ragtag survivors of whatever, and burnout kind of escape from New York-esque, just burned out, bombed out buildings and stuff. But what's strange is this is most people have their stuff. I mean, I'm not saying there ain't people that's going hungry, obviously, but most people have their phones. I mean, good Lord, all you gotta do is look at something like TikTok or whatever, and people are making gobs of videos. Some of them are pretty funny, some are kind of goofy, but it's just a way to speak out and be heard. Because right now it's a thing. There's not much regards of really interpersonal communications, because you really can't get close to people right now. And I do not know if that's going to change soon. And I don't know. Does that mean we go back to the people we were before, or we change due to this? How long did it take people coming through something like the Black Plague and or even the Spanish flu of the early 1900s for things to take on some semblance of normality. I don't know. We'll just have to watch. I mean, I wish we had some of those folks that survived some of those plagues that could really just sit and go, look, this is what you're in for, and this is what's going to happen next, and because they've seen it. The simple fact is we don't, and to be honest, I don't know if we'd listen to them anyway. To me, society's changed so much. It's very insular now, and I do think that I don't know. I think it's something we'll end up sort of paying for. This mentality of I know best and I don't need advice. Well, it sets a pretty serious precedent, man, and it leaves you where you're going to have to, pay for that. Pay for that. Maybe the word's hubris. I don't know, but you're definitely going to, pay for the luxury of thinking that you know what's going on. So we'll see what happens. I hope things ease up soon and hope everyone's back on track. But again, there's no promise of that. One thing I'll say, I know it's like in the I Am Legend movie and the earlier Vincent Price movie. I believe it was Last Man on Earth. There was a lot more, action adventure quality to it, to the Will Smith thing, and he's driving all these tricked out cars and tons of explosions and blowing up stuff and violence and all that. Where the Vincent Price thing, I mean, there was elements of that obviously, but I mean, I don't remember him like getting in any sort of super tricked out race cars or anything like that. But it had a darker, more hollow core to it. I mean, do I say it necessarily means it's better? I mean, personally, I feel it is, but I mean, from an artistic standpoint, I guess you have to look at it about not so much what I took out of it, what I interpreted it to be, as to what they meant it to be, what their vision was. But it's just I can relate to that lone guy, kind of scavenging through old houses trying to find coffee or beans or something to survive. I mean, I guess if you're in New York City, yeah, you'd have a crap ton of options. London, Paris, places like that. Which, if you happen to be in London or Paris or somewhere in that area, you may actually be listening to us on Para UK Radio, Paranormal Radio, out of England, and these guys have been really great, and have welcomed my little rants with open arms, and they're very, very good people, and I appreciate them. So anyway, there's that. But I think that, I don't know, I think you're gonna see more shows about isolation. I think you'll see more series and things like that where you're dealing with a faceless adversary, be it in the form of a pandemic, a germ, or something like that. Maybe it'd be something paranormal. Maybe it'd be something spiritual, like demons and stuff. Which I've had people tell me that they've noticed an upclick on demonic activity, and I mean everything from demonic activity to UFOs to whatever. I don't know. I don't know if it's always been there and people are just slowing down enough to look now and see it. I really don't know. I know that it's not going to be for me, I don't think it's going to be like a turnaround, an easy turnaround. I think, and if so, everything comes at a price. I think if we take the vaccines that they got, and definitely not an anti-vaxxer. I mean, which I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I've not taken the flu shot this year. Which I mean, I've probably been swabbed for COVID 4 or 5 times at this point. Um, so, but you know, God, man, I've heard it just seems almost too orchestrated. You know, one president goes out, another one comes in, and instantly it sounds like they've got some sort of test that'll help, or not a test, but a vaccine. But then these, as far as I know, have not been tested. And that's going to be tested on those first couple 100,000 that are, you know, hooked up with the vaccine. And again, that may not be a bad thing. But who knows? Maybe this vaccine will change us somehow. Not just culturally, but maybe even down on the atomic level. Maybe this is the thing that makes us grow beyond the kind of watershed point we are as humans. You know, because there's not been a lot of, as far as I know, evolution or innovations, let's just say that, for those that are more into the religious side of life, for a while. You know, I mean, we're still running around with scalpels to work on people, and you know, fuel rockets and things like that to get to space and get our satellites up. You know, we're still rocking, you know, fairly old technology. And of course, you know, you hear stuff about breakaway civilizations and whatnot, but I'd have to see it to believe it. Just because, I don't know. I'd want to see it, just to just to see what could be possible. See if these guys have got that far ahead that we don't hardly recognize them as our own culture. But I don't know. Again, remains to be seen. But I am curious what you guys think. If you think that COVID is just another, you know, horrific thing that's plaguing the earth. Is it a necessary evil? Is it something that the earth has done itself to maybe weed out some of the ones that won't be able to survive certain conditions? I don't know. But if you do, you know, please leave a comment, and anything else you could add to what I've said in the video on your comments space on YouTube. I would appreciate it. And as most of you guys know, I'm not medically trained. I've dealt with a lot of things in regards of seizures and stuff like that, but I do not have a good in and out of how, you know, this virus works. But on that note, I don't think many people do. You know, I think it's just sort of where we're left. But I do want to hear your opinions on it. And as always, if you have a good guest or a good subject or whichever, or a good location to do a show about, let me know, because I'm, as always, looking for interesting faces, places, and whatnot to discuss. But as you can probably tell from the background music, I'm about done with this little segment. I just did a short one tonight. But what is important to remember is we're on all this together. And, you know, care for the ones that are here while you got them, because nobody's making it out of this alive. So I want you to go out there and enjoy that sunlight. But as the sun sets behind the pines and the shadows grow long, make sure to check under your bed, in your closet, in your pantry, down toward the edge of the field where the tall trees grow, in the strange croaks in the woods and calls you forth. But remember, love each other and don't be afraid to learn and fear, because there's learning there. But above all, stay scared.